Welcome to July Empties, where I share the products and items that I used up throughout the month. If you missed the purchases that I made throughout the month of July, please check out those 3 videos. I published one mid-July and I published 2 last week, one sharing home decor pieces for one of our bedrooms, and I take you on a little tour of that room, as well as a couple other spaces that we have what I call updated. And then a few days later, I published my July purchases for the second half of July. So today is Empties. As always, links to everything will be in the description box below this video, and I always encourage you to tap on the very top link, which is the corresponding blog post and is always your easiest place to shop from. If I missed anything or you're looking for something, please share that in the comment section below. I will be happy to get that link to you. Also, share with me in the comment section below any products that I have mentioned over the years, because many things that I share are on repeat. Share with me what you've bought, what you've purchased that I've inspired you to try and you've loved it and are continuing to use it. All right, let's dive into my empties. I emptied a Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. Now, I don't know if this is still available. This is several years old. I do believe that the palette was offered in a bigger size, maybe like a 6-pan palette with varying shades of contour and bronzer. So again, I don't know if this is still available, but the 2 shades are Lucid and Sombre, and really it's just contour here and then a brightener or highlighter, but not a sparkly highlighter, more for if you just wanted more of a matte or maybe a satin finish highlight. I was never crazy about the top shade, the lighter shade, the highlight. The contour was nice. I was very happy with it. I have nothing negative to say. The problem that I had is I have been a loyal fan and user of the Smashbox step-by-step contour palette that has a contour bronze and highlight. I'm a huge fan of this. Now, I love this highlight shade. I actually do use this in a couple of different areas on the face. This is my preferred one. This is also my favorite contour. I like the powder finish. I like how it applies to the brush, and the shade is perfect for me. And I also use the bronzer. Now, I always hit pan first and use up the contour shade before the bronzer, and then I've never actually used up the highlight shade. So I wish that these cosmetic lines offered replacement pans when they come in a compact with more than one. So let's say I run out of this and that's all I want to replace, because the timing of using that up may align with me finally using this up. So that is the unfortunate part about this, but I've used this for years. I've spoken about it for many years, and it's just my tried and true and my go-to. Now, I have heard that there's a dupe for this palette by Physicians Formula. I will have a link to that in the drop-down box or corresponding blog post. I recently had a request by a viewer to do a tutorial of how to use this exact palette, and I would love to honor that. What I plan to do is pick up that Physicians Formula palette and do a makeup application one day where I'm using my go-to, and on another day use that Physicians Formula palette for comparison so that I can share with you, and that way you have a couple of different options. And if you're looking for more of a drugstore, a lot of drugstore palettes have really gone up in price, so you'd have to tap on the link to see the difference in prices, but I think that would be a great video just comparing the two. So this is always what I pick up. I already have, I'm sure, let me check. Yep. Another one on hand right here, and it's by Smashbox. And let me also share that a little brush comes with it. Let me find it. This right here. So I have several of these from over the years of accumulation, and I only need one. And again, I would just use it, you know, like in this area, just to kind of highlight that area. I don't use a sparkly highlighter, and then I also apply the highlight shade up here, but with a different brush down here, but with that same brush, and then right here. And that brush is actually this one by e.l.f., which I will have linked. It is the small stipple brush. I may have to lower this necklace because it should be dipping down and not going in. So I may have to adjust that chain. Unfortunately, this is not available anymore, but I will link some dupes for it because I get asked all the time. So I use this brush. Again, I will have it linked. And then I just put some of that highlight there, here, and then often just a little bit on the tip of my nose and maybe a little bit here. So, and I contour in several areas, but I will share all of that when I do that special video talking about this palette and showing a tutorial of how I use it and comparing it to the Physicians Formula. But yeah, love that. So what I did is I forced myself to use this up. And I can actually see a little bit in the perimeter, but it's too hard to get a good brush application before applying when it gets like that, where there's just some remnants. So I'm going to stick with this. This was a decent product. So if you've tried this, I don't know if this one's still available, maybe try the Physicians Formula, but happy to have this used up. And we're just going to go like this. I missed. Okay. Well, left-handed. Yeah, makes sense. Well, I don't have a good aim. I don't have good hand-eye coordination. Tracy, it's okay. It's okay. We all have weaknesses. That is yours. If you are curious why it looks like maybe I have a sunburn, that is because I am less than 24 hours from having a microneedling, which is a procedure or treatment that I get done all throughout the year, every 6 to maybe 12 weeks. And I have been doing this for a couple of years, and I will continue to do this going into 2026. I'm already waiting for the specials to come out so that I can pull the trigger on those packages. Don't forget that coming up next month, I am hosting a little ladies live event, all things beauty, and we will talk more about the treatments and procedures I've done that I love and would continue to do because of ROI, return on investment. What I've done that I don't believe was an ROI, return on investment for me, in all things beauty, skincare, you name it, you'll bring it, and we will have a great time in that live. So I look forward to that. There will be a link in the description box below to get more information on that and to get registered. Okay, so we are unpacking Empties. Let's dive in. Exfoliating cotton rounds. It looks like I bought these ones at Target, but I also buy them on Amazon. I just go with the generic, nothing fancy, but I do prefer the exfoliating over the original. Neutrogena Makeup Remover Soft Cleansing Towelette Singles. I talk about these all the time because I use them while doing my skincare on the road, and I also stock the guest bathroom for when I have guests or my daughters are home, and I also travel with these. So many years using this product. Dickinson's Original Witch Hazel Pore Perfecting Toner. I used this many years ago and then stopped, and then I noticed that my daughter Chloe was buying it on Amazon, and it kind of prompted me, and what a great product. Still completely love it. There's a couple different purposes for this. I do use it before applying makeup in the morning, and I also do use it in my makeup removal routine. Definitely recommend. Tazortene, this is my retinol, right? Whichever one is prescription. I always get the two mixed up. But this is my Tazortene 0.1% cream. As you can see, I cut it open and use every little bit. I have been using a retinoid or prescription retinol, whichever again we call it. I think it's retinoid. I have been using one since I was in my 20s, and we'll talk more about that in the All Things Beauty event because that is a bazooka product, and we're going to talk about the bazooka products. Another skincare on repeat that I've been loving is the Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Skin Therapy Oil for Face. A doctor in the practice that we go to recommended this product to my second daughter who lives in Boston when she was home and went in for her annual physical. The female doctor that she had, who was younger, actually recommended that product, and both my daughter and I have been buying it ever since. A couple of sunscreen products for the face that I used up. The first one is City Beauty Skin Perfecting Daily Veil Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 39. That's interesting. This was okay. Yeah, I do believe I liked it. I think I'm thinking of another one that I didn't care about. I'm thinking of another one I didn't care about as much. This was really nice. This is a little tinted, not really, maybe slightly tinted. Let's see if I can get any out. No, clearly I used it. Clearly I used it up. So, and this is a good size. So this definitely was a great product. Definitely would recommend. It's the other one I'm thinking of that I wasn't a fan of. It was by a brand that starts with an A. It's like a brand from like a skin spa. But City Beauty, this was great. Not too greasy. That's the big thing, not too greasy. Another one, this was a little bit greasier in texture, but I used it up, is the May Love The Sun Protector Sheer Mineral Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 30. I didn't like this one as much. It was not tinted, a little bit greasier in texture, which plays a big role for me. So I would go with City Beauty for sure over the May Love. And make sure you check out my last two recent purchases videos. I posted one just a few days ago, last Friday, August 1st. I talk about SPF for the body and the face. And then I also published a recent purchases on Tuesday, July 15th, I believe, where I talked once again about sunscreen and SPF. So I've been talking a lot about products like that. So please check out those videos. They're great. They're kind of chit-chatty like this. So if you like that style, that's where you can go. I used up a product that is always on repeat, and I already have two of these. In fact, well, I put my makeup down there. I have two. I always keep these in the can. There's always one in rotation. So I have one that I just opened because I used this one up, and a box with a fresh one in it. And it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz Brow Pencil in the shade Soft Brown. I love this because it's such a fine pencil. And that is so important for me to make those strokes. Also used up an all-time favorite lip pencil, but I'm going to take a back seat to this one. It is the Huda Beauty Lip Contour 2.0. This is great, but I'm just going to take a break because I found in my stash this old pencil by Essence. So it's the Essence Lip Pencil in the shade My Mind 202, and I really loved this. So ideally, again, I would outline my lips with either the Palladio Rose or the Mac Whirl, and I'll have both of those linked, and then fill in with this. But I could probably define with it as well. You know, I've talked in previous videos, and watch my lip tutorial video that I just did not even a couple of months ago, where I talk about how I always use two lip liners and how I use them and what I'm looking for. So I am going to pick up the Essence, which is another empty, and I'm going to take a step back from the Huda Beauty at this time. I may change my mind, and when Sephora runs their annual savings event, their Beauty Insider event, the 1st of November, I may pick one up, and I already made a note on that as a contender because I keep that tailing list to prepare for that sale. Moving on to a couple of hand creams that I love. The first one is Laura Mercier Amber Vanilla Souffle Hand Cream. Great hand cream. If you like a more luxury hand cream, this is a lovely one. You know I'm not a fan of the screw cap. That's the only thing. Unlike having a cap like this, especially for on the go, this is also a great one. Nivea Soft Refreshing Soft Moisturizing Cream. I keep this right here in my filming room. I have one in my pantry, one someplace else. But if you want a luxury, and I do like my luxury hand creams, I do recommend the Laura Mercier. And you already know what a fan I am of the L'Occitane Delicious Hands, except I just don't like the screw cap because it's so easy to drop and lose, especially when you're on the road. But I have several of these and will never stop buying them regardless of the cap. I love them so much. If I am out and about and I need hand cream, this is the one I pack in my handbag because I love the smell. And if I'm around people, I love that clean, almondy scent. It's very subtle. It's not perfumey. That is the one of choice. Also, the Laura Mercier was one that I carried on the road because I love that little scent. People will ask me, ooh, what is that? It's just my hand cream. Unlike an unscented version like the Nivea, where I just keep it around the house. I will also share about my look. So I did curl my lashes today and apply mascara, but I just had to avoid applying makeup because I am only one day, not even a full 24 hours since having my microneedling. And then I just threw a gloss on and I did fill in my brows. So that is all she wrote for the day. It's all she wrote for the day. Okay, moving on. July empties. This brown hairband, probably by Goodie, I'm not really sure, but it's thinning. And when it thins, I know it's going to snap. So that is when it's time to go in the trash. I use an electric toothbrush and I will have that toothbrush linked below. I love it. It's been a game changer. I also use a water pick and I will have that linked as well. I may have a video, maybe last year, on my tooth care routine and whitening system. If I have that, I will link that with the other videos in the library, in the description box, as well as on the corresponding blog post. But I replace my toothbrush head every 3 months and I put it in my Google Tasks and I set it 3 months out when I put a new head on. Well, I've completely emptied the box. So this is the most recent empty head and it was the last one in my 6-pack. So I have already purchased a new pack of the replacement heads and it's a great rotation. I feel like 3 months is perfect. I even asked my dental hygienist how she felt and she said, what you're doing is working, Tracy. Just continue to do what you're doing because it's clearly working. So I go by what the experts tell me, not the noise of the world. Retainer Bright Dental Appliance Cleaner. This is what Paul and I use to clean our trays. I am no longer sleeping with a permanent clear tray post Invisalign. I now have a bite guard. Yes, and I've talked about that. But you know my July fighting disciplines. I'll have that habit tracker video linked. And I hope to see you this Sunday, August 10th, when I do the live training where we unpack it more and we talk more about those fighting disciplines and those to-dos like changing your toothbrush head. What to-do list does changing your toothbrush head go on? Because we all need 3 to-do lists, and I talk more about those this coming Sunday, August 10th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me to unpack that. But yes, one of my fighting disciplines for July was to not take my bite guard out in the middle of the night. You know, my bite guard is relatively new because I take people out in my sleep. So I did push through, I did conquer, and I did deliver in keeping it in regardless of the struggle being real. Anyway, Retainer bright. I do use this for my bite guard. Gillette Mach 3 Man's Razor, been using one for years, and I use the cartridge refills. I also have a system with how often I change this because I won't remember. And if you want to know more, bring it up in Sunday's Live. I'll be happy to share how I know how many days, how I determine that, and where I put that to change my cartridge. So I will have the razor linked, I will have the cartridge linked, and I will have the live training linked and the habit tracker workshop if you haven't taken that in the video where I talk more about it in depth. Estradile transdermal system. This is my patch. I am on 0.025 milligrams for a patch. As you know, I am a big fan of HRT. I think it's a huge, yes, I'm saying it, huge mistake to go into this season of life without the assistance of the hormones we're no longer producing. If you knew that you weren't producing vitamin D3 and it showed up on your lab work, wouldn't you probably start incorporating some vitamin D3? I think so. Well, guess what? We're not producing estrogen postmenopausal. So if you want to protect your heart, if you want to protect your bones, and if you want to protect your boobies, get on Estradile. But you do you. You do you. Who's at risk? The ones not implementing HRT. All right. Let's see, moving along. Vitamin C, 1,000 milligram time released, always on repeat. I take 2,000 milligrams per day. So sometimes I don't follow the dosages on the bottles. I run my own show. Another empty, always on repeat, Neuromag Magnesium L-threonate, and I have switched the timing of when I take this. I used to take it at bedtime. I now take it earlier in the day, and I think I talked in a video recently about why, because I think I talked about this in my recent purchases. I don't know if it was my late recent purchases, the video that went out last Friday, or if the one on July 15th. Both of them will be linked. Find it. Transparent Labs BCAA Glutamine and Sour Green Apple, always on repeat. I am on an auto ship where I get 2 of these containers about every month and a half. That's kind of the rotation. Some days I will actually utilize this supplement 2 times in one day. I'll be happy to share that. You just ask me anything this Sunday, I'll be happy to share. Even if it's not pertaining to the topic, I'm good with it. This is a must. I won't be without it. I have incorporated glutamine in my supplement repertoire for about 18 years and have never stopped. I've been on different ones, but this is the current one. I've tried many flavors. They're all good. If you have a workout routine, if you are perimenopausal or postmenopausal, I highly encourage considering this supplement. If you want to talk more about supplements, there will be a link to jump on some coaching calls with me and we can talk about whatever you would like because it's all about your agenda. Another product that I incorporate in my diet is the PB2 Original Powdered Peanut Butter. I love this to go in my protein smoothie with my UMP protein powder and cookies and cream, some unsweetened almond milk, some ice, mix her up. I put in a couple supplements and we're good to go. And I love it so, so much. A fitness footie that I absolutely love is this line called Bombas, which once again, my Haley, not my daughter Haley, my business manager Haley, turned me on to. And I've never stopped buying these, but this pair right here, looky what happened. So just in one, but I don't have this pattern in more. The ones that I have now, they actually have a right and a left. I wish I had them down here, but this is all I wear, is the Bombas footies for my workouts and my walks. I don't wear anything else any longer, just the Bombas. So I will have their footies that I buy linked. And yeah, now they do a right and a left, and I do honor that. But because I wouldn't have a matching one, we're getting rid of both. I share all the time on Instagram stories, my daily devotional, especially the ones that speak to me. This is the daily word from May and June. because probably when I filmed my June empties, it would have been earlier in the month and I would have still been reading this. And I'm not done with, well, the next book would be July and August. So these come every 2 months. I've been getting this publication for a couple of years. It's very affordable. There's no other devotional that has ever spoke to me like this one. Jesus Calling is a wonderful devotional. I've read Jesus Calling way back in the day a couple different times, but I love this publication. And then I've talked before, and there's no affiliate links, so I don't get any kickback with this. I don't work with them. I don't work with anyone. All throughout the year, they have additional devotionals on a specific topic, and I love that. I have some favorites. This one wasn't my favorite, but it's the true spirit of gratitude. I am going to save this because I asked you, my followers, my audience, recently if you wanted me to do a video on gratitude. I have some note cards. If you don't know what my note cards are, that video will be linked, but I have some note cards on gratitude. So I had great feedback on that. So I do want to honor that request, and I actually ripped one of these out because when I do that video on gratitude, I plan on reading this one because it was so profound for me. But this wasn't one of my favorites, maybe because gratitude is not something I wrestle with. I am truly a person of gratitude. I truly am a prosperity thinker. I'm a thought leader, and gratitude is just an easy character, spiritual character trait that I embody. But there's other ones that have really spoke to me. And if you go to the Daily Word website, which I will have it linked, you can probably navigate when you get a link to one of these, you can actually request these. You may have to pay a small fee where, because I'm a member of their subscription, I can just request one when they send out the mailing telling me about it and asking me if I'm interested. I just throw that little slip back in the mail and it's sent to me free of charge because I'm already part of their subscription. So this is great. There's been so many. I save these because if I'm struggling in an area, they did one on thoughts a couple of years ago. I saved that. It's torn to pieces. There's highlighter marks, things circled, things written, because thoughts can be the enemy. Thoughts can be the enemy. Let me know. That would be another video topic I could do, is just on our thinking, our stinking thinking. I have tons. I have a whole catalog of note cards just on thoughts. Take your thoughts captive. What you think about expands. What you focus on expands. The biggest enemy we have is often our thoughts. Our limitations are driven by our thoughts. So many things are driven by our thoughts. So please let me know in the comment section below. I need to save that. If you would like me to not only do the video on gratitude, but on thought work as well. And then I just thought I would throw this in here. Paul had actually thrown it in the trash, but I'm like, I'll just share it with you. It is the copy paper or printer paper that we buy by Members Mark. So I believe that he's getting this at Sam's Club, maybe? It's the multi-purpose paper, yeah, 500 sheets. We have oodles of packages of these because he buys certain things in bulk, but I just thought I would mention it if you're wondering of a good paper. It's, yeah, good whiteness, good weight. They're perfect for us. Emptied a Magnesium extra strength. I'm pretty sure this is a glycinate. It should be, it better be. Oh, I can't read it. But anyway, always on repeat. This is the one that I take at bedtime. So I take Neuromag now earlier in the day, and then at bedtime, I take this magnesium. And just sharing with you, most people are deficient in the mineral of magnesium, so bear that in mind. Also emptied a progesterone, 100 milligrams. I can take 2 of these, and I do take this at bedtime. I kind of go back and forth. I'm currently going through a lot of lab tests right now. And right now my progesterone looks pretty good. Now I'm no longer having a period, so I'm post-menopausal. Progesterone is really just used now because I don't need it for carrying babies or menstruating, which I think progesterone plays a big role in premenopausal, but postmenopausal, but it can help to balance out the estrogen part, and not everyone needs it. Not everyone needs every part of HRT. Because of some symptoms I've been having and some holding onto weight, which is now going off, Celebrate that win. I'm moving the needle. I'm moving the needle. Today I was happy. I've been really happy. I'm gradually going down, but it's mainly dietary changes, but also because some things just aren't, there's no explanation for it on my end, something I am doing. I am just lab work. I just today looked at my message board where I can talk back and forth with my doctor, and she just said, I have some lab work I want you to have done over at Quest waiting for you. Yes, this is my life right now, but it will all be for good reason. Progesterone, use this up. Emptied an ashwagandha, you know I love saying ashwagandha, and emptied a milk thistle. Oh, did I show the ashwagandha? I don't know. Ashwagandha, milk thistle, both emptied. I am not going to pick up milk thistle this time around. Milk thistle is great for liver support and liver health, but my liver enzyme, my enzymes are really good. So why am I taking it? I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break. Not probably for the ashwagandha. I gotta lower that cortisol, right? And cortisol spikes, believe it or not, in about 30 minutes upon awakening. So I actually take ashwagandha in the morning before my workout. I'll get enough spike going on in my workout. I don't need an additional. Used up a beautiful makeup primer. It is the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer, and you know she cuts those little products open, and someone asked recently when I cut them open, how do I keep the product from drying up? And I'll share with you that I probably got about 5 applications out of this product just by opening it up. And you know, I even cut open like mustard, mayo if it's in a squeeze tube, the ketchup bottles. I use like a Stanley knife or a box cutter to open them up. I'm very careful. Knock on wood, I've never cut myself, but I always go against, if I go too fast, I don't have anything to cut there because you cut away. But recently I was making my mustard dip, which is always on repeat because it's nice to have on hand. And I cut open, was it the mustard or the mayo that day? I think it was the mustard, and I needed 1 cup. I scraped out between 3/4 and 1 full cup just by opening the product and scraping it out with this mini spatula that I use. So can you imagine if you just used mustard, let's say on a sandwich, knowing there was almost a full cup to still be used in that? You can, over time, you are saving money, and maybe groceries isn't an area that you look to save money. I look to pinch a penny anywhere I can. It's just ingrained in me. I have found that it has served me, and I get it. Most people are just too lazy in that area. Yes, lazy. I'm going to throw it out there. I see it as a laziness. It only takes a minute to cut it open and scrape it out. Why not do it instead of trying to continue to beat on it? Cut your products open. You'd be amazed. I would say at least 5. Well, I had another one waiting in the wings because this is not a product I want to be without. How I got turned on by this primer was whenever Sephora does their big beauty event, which they do one in the spring and one in the fall, because I am the highest tier and I get to shop that sale earlier than those that are maybe VIP. I don't remember what the top tier is, but I can't think of it offhand. You don't need to share. I know, we all know what it is. I will reach out to my daughters, get their order all of their products along with mine so that they don't miss out on anything because maybe it's a hot item. And my girls are on TikTok, meaning they follow TikTokers way more than I wish they would, but they get to do them. So they get influenced, and often that will be something that could get sold out. Well, my daughter McKenna, my third daughter, who is beautiful and does a beautiful makeup application, she had a couple of products that she had on her list for me to pick up, and one was this Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer, and I thought, you know, I'm in the market for some primer. I'll just order it and check it out. Well, it's been my favorite since. So if that doesn't speak for itself, I will share that although I am 54 and postmenopausal, I still have very oily skin. Another primer that I do love, and I'm still using this as well, just not on the main parts of my face. I'm using it on my eyelids and then this area, because I do prime this area because I do carry my foundation and powder down because it looks better in filming. I didn't want to disregard using this because it is also an amazing primer. It is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. My business manager, Haley, told me about this primer a couple of years ago, and I've been picking this one, or I picked it up ever since. Will I repurchase this? Well, I'll share with you. This is pretty full because this was already in the wings. So when I bought this one, and I bought two of them, I already had one of these in the wings, which I don't usually do that. I usually will force myself to use up what's in my stash, but I just didn't want to miss out on comparing the two. So definitely favor this one over the Hydro Grip, but like foundations and powders and primers, no different. Everyone is going to be a little different. We're all dealing with different concerns and skin types, so would recommend both of these. This one is just my preference, and this will not go to waste. I still use it every makeup application. You know, I'm always going to go into detail because I'm passionate about the products that I use, and I don't work with brands. So you are literally getting the real deal. You're getting the real deal. Well, yes, most of my links should be affiliate, so I do thank you for using my links. I'm going to actually ask you to please use my links. I don't work with a brand where I have to kind of talk as if I'm loyal to the product. No, if I'm loyal to something and I share, it is the real deal. But I also firmly believe everyone has different needs and is looking for different results in the products that they use. You have a couple to choose from today. Order both. Test them both out for about a week. Return the one that doesn't serve you. I always return products that don't serve me. Again, that is where valuing your dollar pays off, because you will take that extra step to say no instead of yes. When we say no to one thing, we're saying yes to something else, which could be a product that serves you better. I used up an all-time favorite, or many years favorite, I should say, mascara. This is the IT Cosmetics Superhero in Waterproof. This is such a fantastic mascara. I firmly believe everyone has a personal preference to mascara. People prefer a different wand. This is a perfect wand for me. Our goals in what the mascara accomplishes is different. I have long lashes, which I do use products to assist in that, but my lashes go straight out. I mean, straight out, or they even dip down. The corners of my lashes dip down. Factors play a role with all things beauty. That is why when someone asks another person what they would do, let's say as far as a treatment or procedure, or what their favorite, let's say, foundation is, you really can't base your decision on what other people use because our concerns are different and what we're working with is different. So, for example, my lashes, what we're working with is a lack of lift, a lack of curl, okay? I have nice lashes. Again, they're long, they're darker, they're thick, but they are compromised. So I need something to mitigate that. And the IT Cosmetics Superhero has done the job for me. This is my first step mascara. Now, because my daughters inherited my lashes, which go straight out or dip down, and my husband's lashes are the same, so it makes perfect sense. They all got it. We are all contending with no lift and no curl. My third daughter, McKenna, has kind of nailed the lash look, knowing, like me, like her mother, she has compromised lashes. And she shared with me one time, and a follower also shared this, that if you use waterproof, it will hold that curl better. So the last couple rounds of buying the IT Cosmetics Superhero, I bought the waterproof. And can I say confidently that I noticed a difference versus what I used to buy, which is the original? I can't really say for me, but it's probably because this is my first step mascara and I have a second step mascara, meaning I use 2 mascaras. Yes, 2. High maintenance. And I use 2 lash curlers, 2 different brands here, okay? So I have a first step and a final step. And I believe that is why I probably don't get the same wow factor using waterproof. Last month, when Amazon had their Prime Day deals, they did have the IT Cosmetics waterproof, and they also had the original. The original was about $3 cheaper, and I just decided to give that one a try again. So I will be pitching this, and I'm going to go back to the original of the IT Cosmetics, and I'm going to see if I notice a difference, because it's been a couple times, right? It's been a long time, probably over a year or more since using the original. So I will keep you posted. I will have the waterproof and the original linked. I will also have my first step eyelash curler. And then I will also have my final step mascara linked and my final step lash curler. And I will also have the rubber replacement pads, because I believe replacing those pads plays a big role, especially with those compromised lashes. I have been asked by followers, viewers, subscribers to share this whole process, this high maintenance mascara routine where I'm using 2 mascaras and two lash curlers. And I will do that. I will do that because, and again, I don't believe all women need to buy all this and to do all this and take that time. It's what are we coming from? Everything is about what is your concern and what are we coming from? And I think that right there is such a big missing link when it comes to beauty products, in where people just get sucked in, and it's not necessary. So I will speak more about this next month, the middle of September, at my live All Things Beauty event. I will cover anything that you want in addition to what I plan on sharing there, which is a lot of information about skincare mainly, treatments and procedures in the home, outside of the home, and really anything beauty. It's an all things beauty event. So gather the questions, get registered for that exciting, fun morning of talking all things beauty with me. But again, these products will be linked and I will keep you posted. By the time that all things beauty event comes, I will already have a good gauge on my thoughts between using the original IT Cosmetics and the waterproof. Well, there you go. July empties. Again, links to everything on the corresponding blog post. Also, there will be links to any videos that I mentioned today or anything that complements today's video. And then lastly, just a reminder about the Habit Tracker Maintenance to Do workshop that you can get today, and a link to register for this coming Sunday, August 10th, live training where I address your questions after taking the Habit Tracker workshop, how to optimize your habit tracking and maintenance to-do system, and also cover briefly the other two to-do list that everyone needs. Links to that in the description box as well as on the corresponding blog post. Thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you back here on Friday for a Dear Tracy, where I answer a question from a viewer just like you having to do with female relationships, friendships. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed and share this video with another lady who you feel would enjoy my content. Take care.